Well, there's nothing like a great choppy start. Am I right?
Hey, I love it when we have production value.
Well, I pushed the button and it was just chop, 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 and then all of a sudden it played. So
Yeah,
anyway,
maybe thought it was
hey,
a
we are back.
recording.
It is episode 240, which represents exactly the number of millions of dollars that Dak Prescott is getting overpaid.
Are you
And
still
it is the
bitter
Metal
about
Round Table. I am Metal Rob, and with me, as always, right down there since day one, that dude,
Carcass John?
recently
is now
married, by the way.
married? Yes, sir. Congratulations to John. Hi. Oh, wait, this.
Yep.
But in today's special episode, we're going to be talking for a complete hour about Tito Jackson.
Yeah,
who passed away.
Hopefully,
and we joke. I joke, but it is another legendary musician who has passed away. So
yeah, and all due respect, but I could not spend 5 minutes talking about Tito Jackson because I only know that he's one of the Jacksons. I feel kind of bad that I don't know anything.
Well, in a nutshell, he was a pretty serviceable guitarist. He took lessons from Johnny Guitar Watson, and he was the guy that wrote all the melodies and stuff like that when it was the Jackson 5.
Right.
Before everyone started going off and doing their own thing. But yeah, it's sad. I knew of those guys when I was a kid. I have 4 younger sisters, and of course, the family, the Jackson 5, the Osmond brothers, Bobby Sherman, David Kay, all that stuff. I mean, I unfortunately know way more than I should, but
don't forget Sean Cassidy.
Yeah, I was trying, Scott. I was
did
trying.
Run? Did you run?
Until you brought it up. Thanks. Now I got it etched in my brain.
And keep it going, Scott.
Leaf Garrett.
Oh God!
There's another one for you.
See, he knows way more than I do. Let's see. Fraser Dawson.
You know why? Do you want to know why I know that? It's because I was in grade school when that stuff was popular, and I hated it because I liked Ted Nugent and Judas Priest and Aerosmith and Kiss, and I used to get into fights all the time because those guys suck. That's what I mean. This is grade school, So,
what did Fraser say, Mr. Carcass? I hope you're going to be on. I'm going Friday. Oh, yeah. Rotting Corpse is playing the Black Magic Club or whatever in Houston this weekend with Hasserot. That's Crypto's Grim, Josh Merritt, and I am not going because Friday just happens to be
your birthday.
Yoo-hoo! Another trip around the sun for old Carcass. So anyway, let's see. Tito's Tito location.
Oops.
Anyway, so
hey, so let's just hold up for a second here.
Okay.
Chief.
All right.
We all know that you are the elder statesman of. Oh, now I know who Trial and Error is. Okay. Yes, the great Mike Griffin is here. Yes, very nice. I couldn't see the tiny picture, but when he said Temple of the Fuzz Witch, that blew it for you. Now I know who you are. So back the information truck up.
Okay.
You're now married.
Yes.
Prove it. Show us the ring.
Happily.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Yep. I was there.
Yes.
It was a DFW Metal All-Star cast.
It was. Rick Perry was right. Hopefully our guest joins us here soon, but he said this will be the metal event of the year. And I said, in DFW? And he said, no. And I said, oh, I guess of the world then.
Yep. Paragraph Taylor was there from Secret of Boris and Manifestive.
Creeper played.
Rick was
awesome.
there. Todd Pack, the great Todd Pack from Iron Jaw was there.
Henry Vasquez was there.
From St. Vitus and now Pentagram.
Yeah.
Blood of the Sun. Spicoli was there from KNON and 128 DB Rock.
And there's the Queen chiming in. And look, she changed her last name. Ah, that has such a nice look to it.
Oh, look at that. Steph, yay.
Awesome.
She looked beautiful, of course.
Oh, yeah. I shocked her, though. She thought I was going to coat and tie that thing. And yes, I wore a button-down shirt and a tie, but well, you'll just have to check the pictures out.
So
I saw.
did you choose? You may not want to talk about it, but I don't think it's that big a deal. I think you'll be cool with what I'm about to ask.
Sure.
The red and black, was that a tribute in any way?
No, I just think those are her two favorite colors.
Okay. Well, I want you to know something that I hope doesn't.
Well,
I think we're cool. I think we're cool.
And I will say this: my son, ironically, wore red and black. Always a black shirt, black slacks, and a red tie and a black hat.
Yeah.
And that tie that I was wearing, just FYI, was one that he purchased. He was going to retire the old red tie, which I have hanging on the wall, and he was going to wear that one. Well, he never got the chance to wear it. So that thing's been hanging in my closet in the packaging, brand new, and I broke it out just for the wedding.
Well, I will have you know that when I found out what the colors were, I didn't know for sure if that was a tribute to Jesse or just that's what you guys wanted to do, kind of metal thing. But the last time I was at your house, I happened to buy that shadow box in your room, and I bought the closest shirt and tie that I could find to what's in that shadow box.
that was, well, yes. So, yes, black and red are Steph's favorite colors, and I agreed that that was a good thing. And then the tribute thing sort of happened organically. So yes, and yes. I can't tell you how everything just kind of fell into place. And unfortunately, there was a huge accident out on one of our major freeways, and the food truck didn't quite make it. And fortunately, nobody was hurt, but all the grub was on the floor of the trailer, and they were stuck in traffic for hours and hours. Thank goodness they were okay. However, I don't think anybody really noticed. We did the cake thing, and then Creeper played, and we went about our happy way. Some of us went to Binion's, which is a cool little venue. In fact, there's going to be a huge tribute show there here on the 28th of September, and tons of bands playing. Joey Gonzalez's band is playing. Rotting Corpse is playing. Cauldron. Varnum Ponville's driving up from Baton Rouge area and going to play. And speaking of which, and we can talk to Rick later about it, but Varnum's agreed to do the Gammacide thing. They're going to be at Hell's Heroes. I can't wait. One of our wedding presents was tickets to Hell's Heroes next spring, and man, we are so stoked. Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, Hell's Heroes is a great deal, but also before we get you out from under the spotlight, don't you have a significant birthday on Friday?
They're all significant when you cruise past 50, and that was 15 years ago. So
do you care to share the number with us?
I just did.
You did.
You did?
You did.
I said they're all significant when you cruise past 50, and I will have done that 15 years ago.
Oh, okay. I missed the 15.
Yeah. So I'll actually be 65 years old, and I can't believe it.
That's awesome.
I when I went to see Dr. Green for the yearly checkup, blah blah blah, he said, "Well, medically, you're 46 or 47." And I said, "Is that good?" He said, "Yes." He says, "I know people that are 65 and their medical health is 82."
Yeah. Well,
and you saw my parents at the wedding, and they're 88.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Sweet people. Yeah.
In fact, a shout out to my mother, if I have to shout anyone out. She can't, even in an airport or in a random building or in the mall or whatever, if she sees a piano, she sits down and starts to play. And
does it wonderfully.
And I told my sister, I said, "There's a piano there. Sit her down or don't let her pass it up. Let her sit down and play just for a few minutes before and she did. And I put a tip jar out, and she got tipped out pretty good. Over
awesome.
$100.
Oh, wow.
For about 15 minutes worth of work. And she graciously gave that to Steph in a card the next day at breakfast. And I don't know, man. The whole thing was just so awesome. I can't believe it really happened. But a lot of things just sort of fell into place and happened organically. And there he is, the predictor of the metal event of the year himself.
That's right.
Even as we speak. Thanks
Indeed.
for jumping in, Rick.
I told you it was going to be the social event of the season.
I think you were right. I not that I don't believe you when you say things like that, but it proved you absolutely true.
Yeah, it was a great event.
It was awesome. I apologize. I'm mildly distracted because I'm trying to turn up Rick's mic a little bit. I got it.
Is it not working?
No, it's working. You were just a little lower than everybody else, but you're good now.
All right.
I got you.
It was a great wedding, John.
Thanks for coming, because I people are busy. There was events going on all over the place, and it was nice for people just to, even if they I saw Jamie the pig killer. He showed up and he said, "Look, I had prior commitments, but I just stopped by for a minute just to say congratulations." Jamie Moore, and stuff like that happened all evening. It was great.
And the doing it at the Platinum was a great idea too, I think.
Yeah, I think that worked out great. It's a very accommodating place. There's lots of room to move around. The facility is I think top notch, and so anybody moving forward, if you have even if it's just a live event, a music event, they've got a recording studio there. They've got radio broadcast stuff. It's just a really great place. Props to Dwayne for taking an old municipal building and leaving the jail in there.
Yeah,
but having all the other amenities, it's really great. It's a great place.
It was very cool. Well, with us today, kids. Well, first of all, before we get into this with Rick, Scott, you got a quick shout out or anything, and then we'll do Carcass's pick of the week.
No, we can skip any shout outs, but yeah, let's get into Carcass's pick of the week.
All right.
I got two, and they're not what you would think they are. So normally we have two. We have a rock and a metal. Here's my rock pick of the week. It's Electromagnets. I don't know if you're familiar with that band, but if you look on the back, there's like a guy named Eric Johnson. This is an album that he made when he was like 18 years old. It's steeped in jazz fusion rock. It was kind of that early crossover. I'm looking at this. 75 was when it came out. This is his first one. These are really hard to find. It's an actual DIY original pressing. I found in a pile of stuff, and I think everybody that's a real music fan needs this. It's not quite the polished commercial stuff that he released later on, but he has an EP that's equally as good. But man, Eric Johnson and the Electromagnets. And then this is something that sort of jumped out at me, and I can't take it out of the player. This is 200 Stab Wounds, and the record is not quite as gruesome as the cover it appears. They just signed with Metal Blade, and they used to be really gurgly and gargly and brutal, like early Carcass, if you like reek of putrefaction and stuff like that. But now they're a little more melodic. They're a little more tight and put together. The songs are heavier without so much of the moist, crispy sounds of brutality. So 200 Stab Wounds, can't go wrong with it. It's brand new. And like I said, it just came out on Metal Blade. I don't know if Brian Slagle said, "Here, let me give you some suggestions," but heck, I would listen to him. No, it's not. It's more death metal-y, kind of like Carcass. What is it? The Descanting the Insalubrious. What was the one right before Heartwork?
Symphonies of Sickness. Or
no, it's not that grindy. It's more. All I can say is check it out on YouTube if you can. It's really well put together. The recording is stellar, and I was shocked that I liked it as much as I like their early stuff because it's gurgling and gargling like our buddy Poser Mark in Houston would say. But this is a more of a straight up, almost has a Swedish death metal tone to it, like early Therion or Sentenced. It's really great. So can't recommend it highly enough. But that and the Electromagnets, top dogs for this week. And they're already getting questions for the governor. So let's get into it.
Now, Rob, your mic's not working.
I muted myself because I'm a smart engineer. I know how to do this. So yeah, let's roll into it. The reason we brought Rick on today, Rick's got a lot of updates for us, but the thing we're going to start with is something that I had the very awesome privilege and pleasure of working on. You want to tell us a little bit about that, sir?
Oh yeah, you did the remastering on the upcoming Puncture release, which about earlier this year I was contacted by this guy named Mike Christian. He has a small label in Fort Worth called Black Artifact Records. He puts out mostly industrial noise and electronic music and things like that. And he contacted me through my Bandcamp and said that he was a big fan of Puncture from the 90s, and he wanted to know, and he reminded me that this was the 30th anniversary of that record because it came out in 94. And he asked if I was interested in doing a reissue. And I said, well, I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, that sounds cool to me. And so we had decided to reissue the debut Puncture CD. It's going to be, it was completely remastered by Rob. You know, Rob did a great job remastering it and gave it some added clarity and punch. And then it comes with a second disc that has like all the old demos for Puncture and some unreleased songs and some remixes and things like that. And, you know, so it's like a double CD fold out set. And I think it's gonna be a really cool, little cool package. It comes out October the 18th. And we'll be selling them through our Bandcamp and with shirts, and we got some new Puncture shirts and stuff coming out too. So pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. It was a lot of fun to work on that. I didn't know a ton about industrial stuff, but the funny thing was I had a Puncture CD in my collection, and when we got to talking, you're like, that's not the one we're doing.
Yeah, that's our second one.
Yeah, but I have Immune, and this is the first one. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. It was a lot of fun to work on. It was killer stuff. And the second disc with all the demos and everything, I love when you're able to add that stuff to a reissue. And I'm excited about what Black Artifact is doing and the fact that he's involved. He was a super nice guy. I got to meet him over at your place. And
he's a real cool guy.
Cool, man.
Yeah, it is. And he's really excited about it. And I think it's we've already got a bunch of things going on Spotify, getting Punctures added to a bunch of playlists and things, and getting, Puncture appeals to a whole different crowd than, some of my other bands, it seems like. There's some overlap. I mean, some of the people who like Iron Jaw or Gammacide, probably are interested in Puncture just because they want to see something else that I'm doing. But as far as just the regular people outside of the Metroplex, it's more the electro industrial scene and goth people and all that. So it's a whole different music scene, and it's kind of cool to to check out a whole different genre, I guess, and see what those people are into. And it's getting a real good response already. So I think it's gonna do pretty cool. It's gonna get a whole new lease in life. Yeah,
I think so too. Give us a couple of minutes on what you guys did back in the day, because I don't know, were there only the 2 albums? Did you tour? Tell us a little about that.
Well, we whenever Gammacide broke up in we were starting to break up. We were kind of on the way out. It was around 91, 92. And I had gotten married recently around that time in 1990. I got married, and then I thought I was going to retire from the music business is what I thought, but it didn't turn out that way. But well, I still knew I wanted to be active and involved in music. So I bought a drum machine and just wanted to work on some songs for myself. And, you know, when you're composing songs with a drum machine, it just kind of naturally lends itself to that mechanized industrial type feel. And so that's kind of, you know, where I went with it. I was taking thrash rhythms and marrying it with, you know, industrial beats and like, you know, Ministry and Godflesh, but more thrash. And that's kind of what it turned out to be. I ended up putting out a 5-song demo, and it started getting a real good response. And we ended up getting signed to Century Media Records. And the first Puncture CD was released on Century Media, came out in 1994. And we did mostly just regional touring, like Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, all that stuff. And then our second CD was the Immune. That one came out in 96. And on that one, we did a full U.S. tour with Guar and Electric Hellfire Club. So we were, you know, actually pretty successful. You know, we were, yeah, that's it. And you know, we went through a lot of different mutations and changes. You know, Puncture was different, and you know, almost every year we kind of revamped the whole thing. Different members came in. After a while, we got a live drummer instead of having a drum machine. You know, we started off with John Perez on second guitar. Then later on, we got Mike Trujillo on second guitar. We changed bass players several times. In the beginning, we just had a bunch of TV sets on stage playing all kinds of sick, twisted stuff. And that got us some notoriety. And then later on, we were just, you know, more of just a rock band that had some electronic elements in it. But yeah, I mean, we made a pretty good noise around here in Dallas Fort Worth, I think.
You know, Rick, if I can just interject something, I used to, before I actually lived in Dallas Fort Worth, I used to stumble in from Houston or Longview or all points in between, and I actually saw you guys perform one night, and I can't even remember where it was. I just remember how scary the TVs were.
Yeah.
And I think that didn't you kind of recreate that with the Joe's Garage tribute?
Yeah, we did. We kind of did the same type show. You know, one time at Joe's Garage, the Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission was in there, and they were like doing one of their raids or whatever, where they, you know, are checking people's IDs and making sure there's no underage drinking or whatever. And they confiscated our tape that was playing, you know, because they said it was obscene. And it definitely was obscene. It definitely was. But they confiscated it, and they shut the show down, and they told Ab that he had a choice of either shutting down for the weekend or paying a $2,000 fine. And he said, "Fuck it, I need a vacation," so he just shut down for the weekend. And then after that, you know, when we would show up at Trees or other places, they would always be saying, "Oh no, you're not going to be showing anything. You know, we don't want to get busted or nothing like that." So that caused some controversy for a while. But yeah, after a while, people started, you know, every time I'd go to a show, people would show up and they'd have tapes of all kinds of horrible things, you know, autopsies and people having sex with animals and just different things. You know,
it was
here, I got a tape for you, Rick. And like, oh, great. You know, now I got to go home and watch it.
And your wife walks in and says, "What the heck are you watching?"
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I remember one time at the Gammacide house, we was watching a tape, and Wayne Abney showed up and was like, "I think you're going off the deep end, brah. I think you're going off the deep end."
You were just looking for shocking shit to play during the show. That's funny.
Yeah, you know, animal experiments and just whatever. It was just a barrage of shocking images of sex and death, and you know, faces of death and whatever we could find that we could throw in there, you know, and mixed with some cartoons and, you know, just to, you know, throw people off. And
Well,
yeah, that was
consider it a success, because I was completely like,
yeah,
I mean, I'd seen some things in my day, but holy cow, I'd never seen anything quite like that.
yeah. And in fact, one of my proudest moments with that was that we were playing with the death metal band Crucifix, which is a Dallas death metal band, and we were opening up for them at the Orbit Room in Deep Ellum. And there was this small time televangelist who had a show on AM radio. I don't remember what his name was, but he was at the show to see Crucifix, because I guess he thought he was going to be like a poor man's Bob Larson or something, getting into it with Glenn Benton of Deicide. But he was just totally freaked out by our show, and he like went on a rant on his next radio broadcast all about us, and we ended up taping that and sampling it, and it's on the record, as we sampled him and put him in on the song, and he's like going, this band is making millions of people, they could be committing suicide every day, and he's just going totally saying he's leading young people on a road of rebellion, depravity, destruction and death. And I was like, oh man, we got to use this. It's perfect.
So it's all your fault.
Yeah, that's why it all happened. Gee,
Yeah.
Finally,
Now,
the answer is there.
Am I mistaken, or did JP's dad's TV become a casualty of Puncture?
We would break TVs, a la Wendio and the Plasmatics, which is an inspiration of mine. So we would, we'd have TVs and we'd sledgehammer them on stage. We'd just go to the pawn shop and buy a cheap one, and maybe we may have smashed one of John's. We tested it in the garage the first time, and we wanted to see what would happen. I didn't know if it was going to explode or shock me or something like that. I smashed the TV, and it turns out that the glass flies like about 30 feet, because it's all under pressure or something, just like shoots out far. So he said, how can we do this without sending broken glass into the front row? So we ended up putting like tape on the screen, and then when we hit it, then it would all just kind of, it would stick to the tape, and it would just fall on the ground, so we could still smash it without injury to anybody
Without
else.
showering the crowd with glass.
Right, yeah. And sometimes we would put like, we had like fake animal guts, and we put them inside the TVs, and so when we smashed it, then we could pull the guts out. We do different things like that. So it was always, we tried to always throw in something unique and try to put on somewhat of a show. And,
so Gammacide really was subdued compared to that.
Yeah, I guess so. Musically it was different, for sure. But I don't think Gammacide was really subdued at all.
They were savages. You guys were.
Yeah.
So maybe get into that, segue into that, since we're creeping up on the first 30 minutes, because I can't believe it's going to actually happen, because me, I've been trying to wink, wink, nudge you guys into doing that for years. And I just never thought it would happen. In fact, when you and I were working on the box set, I'm like, come on, Rick, you got to tour for this. You got to whatever.
We wanted to do a show around that time for the box set with Gammacide, which was in 2016. And in fact, we had talked to Phil Anselmo about playing the Housecore Horror Fest that he was going to have that year. And we were very excited because Venom was supposed to headline. And we were really excited that we could probably play with Venom. But then Phil got into some hot water with some comments he made, and the whole thing got shut down. They stopped the whole Housecore Horror thing. There was no more Housecore Horror. But yeah, what happened was last year, the organizers of Hell's Heroes contacted me, and they wanted to see if what it would take to get Gammacide to play at Hell's Heroes. And I asked the other guys, and at that time, we couldn't get it lined up. We couldn't get it all organized. We weren't able to do it, but I went anyway, even though play, you know, I went to the festival, and I was so impressed by the vibe of the whole thing, and the crowd, a bunch of, you know, how many young people there were at the show that were into it. I mean, young people, and they're totally into Sirith Ungol and Tank and all these old bands, you know, and then I was just thinking, man, I mean, we need to try to get it together and play this. I mean, this would be awesome. And then they asked us again this year, and fortunately, it all lined up, and we will be playing Hell's Heroes in March of 2025. So that's very exciting. It's going to be very cool. It's going to be myself and Barnum Ponville on vocals, and Scott Shelby on guitar, and Alan Beauvais on bass, and then Joey Gonzalez is going to play drums for us. And we've rehearsed it. We've rehearsed a couple times already, and I mean, John, you won't be disappointed.
No, I've already heard from Scott that it's tighter than it's ever been, and he said there won't be. The only surprise is you're gonna sound just as great as you did back in the day. So
yeah, there won't be any tired old man aspect to it at all. I don't think. You know, I think it's going to be pretty impressive. I hope. You know, I mean, we're very excited about it. I mean, for us to be asked to play a festival like that is really an honor, and you know, they're supposed to give us a good time slot, like in the afternoon on the big stage outside, and they're very excited to have Gammacide. They're, you know, treating us very well as far as, you know, what they're paying and the arrangements they're made. So it's really an honor. You know, I can't believe that there's that much interest in Gammacide after all these years. It's very cool.
Well, when it's good, Rick. So that's all I can say.
I mean, how many times has the album been reissued? Victims of Science.
It has been reissued a few times. I mean,
yeah.
Of course, the last time was No Life Till Metal did it, and before that, I think Marquis in Brazil, and there's been several reissues of it. FOAD in Italy, so
yeah,
you know, and then numerous bootlegs all over the world. So it's, you know, it's got a life of its own, and it keeps popping up, and you know, I keep getting emails from people still. You know, there's you know, something like 2,000 or 3,000 people who listen to Gammacide every month, you know, on Spotify. So pretty cool, you know.
So I guess the magic question is anytime somebody gets back together, kind of like Solitude Eternus last year, is there going to be new music, or you're just going to do a one-off show and just be happy that you were able to do it?
In the beginning, for right now, that's all we're planning, is just to do the one show, and you know, let's see how that goes and see how the feeling is afterwards. And you know, I mean, I'm sure that if it goes over great, and you know, we're all feeling good about it, then we'll want to do more shows and other things. You know, if we pull it off good, like I think we will, then I would assume that we would get other offers for other, you know, shows and things like that. So as far as new music, I don't know about that. You know, maybe so. You know, I'd have to put myself in that frame of mind. You know, like whenever I was, you know, 22, 23 years old. You know.
But you do have new music coming out with Iron Jaw, so why don't we segue into that?
Okay. Yep. So I got so much stuff going on, it's ridiculous.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. It is. The new Iron Jaw CD, the second one, is going to be on No Life Till Metal Records. Yep. So very excited about that. And
let me just add to that real quick before you move on. Is No Life Till Metal Records just scored major label distribution, so it will literally be in Target and Walmart.com and Amoeba Records and, you know, TowerRecords.com and all those different places. So yeah, we're pretty pumped about that. It took almost a year, but we got it. So, and Iron Jaw will be the first release that we're going to do. We've got stuff that's going into distribution now, but it's all back catalog. This will
Yeah.
actually be the first one that we actually have a release date that's going to be coming out worldwide at the same time. It's to everybody
Very cool.
through distribution. So yeah, very cool.
Well, yeah, I'm glad that we were able to reach a good agreement with your label, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited that it's going to be on vinyl this time. The first one was just CD only, and so this new one will be on CD and vinyl, which is cool. And what's the release date? Release date January the 10th, I think, is what you told me today,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it's the second Friday in January, 2025.
Yeah.
Yep.
So January 10th, and it's going to be called Cursed, which is one of our newer tracks that we've been playing live, and there's a video out for. So the new album will be called Cursed, and so we're excited about that too. So there's the metal never stops, John. I mean, it never stops.
Of course, it doesn't.
Metal will prevail.
Of course,
metal will prevail.
It will, and you help that move that buggy along, full of metal.
And like going back to Puncture, I was planning to do a show. We were planning to do some live shows with Puncture too, but then the Hell's Heroes things came, and and then the Iron Jaws got something. So it's like there's too much stuff going on. So we may be doing a Puncture show next year sometime, but for right now, I'm focusing on the Gammacide show, of course, and then Iron Jaw. Iron Jaw's rolling, so we're good to go. I mean, we can play a show tomorrow if we have to.
It's pretty amazing, the resurgence of old Texas metal. The Solitude Eternus thing that happened last year that I never thought would happen again. Rotting Corpse, hand in that, and they're once again, it's almost taking away from. I know Scott's got Beast of War, the kind of the reincarnation of War Beast, and but that's kind of backburnered because of the Rotting Corpse thing has taken place, and now the Gammacide thing. And like you said, I guess it does take a different frame of mind for all those different bands.
You got to. I mean, I think that the way I look at it is, it's the payoff for all the years of grinding back in the day. That okay, now someone's interested in Gammacide. They want us to put us on this prestigious festival. I mean, I think that's awesome, and it's the payoff for all those years of grinding and playing shitty clubs. We never played a venue that size back then. I mean, except for maybe the Clash of the Titans one. That was the only one that was a big crowd like that. But
I saw that. I was there.
Right. But that wasn't. How long are we gonna play? We're gonna play 50 minutes. 50-minute set. The guy asked. It's gonna be a 50-minute set, and all the favorites that you're wanting to hear, Chemical Imbalance and Walking Plague and Endangered Species and Shock Treatment and all that stuff. So it's going to be ripping, crushing. I can't wait for you to hear it, John.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it because I've actually seen you back in the day, and I was hooked. In fact, I came to see. I think I came up to see Rigor Mortis, and you were opening for them.
Yeah,
and then I'm like, oh crap, these guys are really, really good too. You know what I mean? And that's why, like I tell everybody, get there early because you never know who you're going to see or discover. And Gammacide was no different. Hammer Witch was another one. I had no idea who they were.
Yeah.
Sedition. Now I had no idea who Sedition was. I showed up early. They were opening for somebody. Bang.
Was that at the Arcadia, or was that?
Was it at the Granada or the Arcadia
Theater? Yeah. With
I saw you once at the Tombstone Factory, and that was kind of scary.
Yeah.
And, but dude, it's great.
I mean, I just did an interview with another guy the other day about the same subject, but at the time when Gammacide came out, it was thrash was like the labels were signing every thrash band, and the market was really saturated. You know, there was just so many bands, tons of them.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it was like 1989, 1990, 1991. There was so many thrash bands coming out. And I think Gammacide, being on a small label, was just kind of like lost in that sea of, bands. But it's gotten a renewed life through the internet, starting around 2001, 2002. I think kids that were, doing their research and checking out bands and, going down the thrash rabbit hole, they found Gammacide and they latch onto it, and they think they found the mother lode of, thrash-tastic riffs and stuff. And they,
and they're correct.
It's the real underground hardcore stuff, so they love it.
So I have a question. I know we're spending some time. Oh, go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to say, it's especially with the younger metal generation, just seeing it on social media, they're really into what is underground. You know what I mean? So that's why I think they're digging into all the stuff like Gammacide and really digging it. But sorry,
not just Gammacide, of course. I mean, I was really surprised when I went to see Exciter recently, how many young people were there and have Exciter, on their vests and stuff, and they're all into Exciter, and Razor. I don't know. It seems like the Canadian bands, it seems like are especially hip. And this girl, I was talking to her, and she said, "Did you ever see Exciter back in the old days?" And I said, "Yeah, I saw them." She goes, "Were they popular?" I said, "No, not really."
No, they weren't. Well, they were with us.
They were.
Some people knew about them, but they weren't popular.
Right.
Yeah.
But now, it's like all of a sudden these kids are all into it, so the time is right for Gammacide. I think, if we're going to do it, now's a good time. So
yeah,
before we can't anymore.
So I want to go back. I know we've talked a lot about Gammacide, and we brought you on to talk about Puncture and Iron Jaw and all that, but another Gammacide question. So back in the day when you did the Clash of the Titans, you guys were playing on a side stage. Do you remember how that came about? Because I remember not knowing that you guys were going to play, and I'm not sure I knew. I'm not sure that Gammacide was on my radar, but I remember walking in, getting my ticket torn or whatever, walking in. It's still bright daylight. Alice in Chains is opening. And I'm walking up, and there's this stage, and you guys had just started, and I was like, holy shit, what is this? And I was completely lucky. How did that come about?
Man, the promoter got a hold of us somehow. I showed up to practice, and Jamie and Scott were standing there, and they said, "You want to open up for Slayer?" And I was like, What are you talking about? And
is that a trick question?
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm not interested in that.
They had back then there was like the record store was Sound Warehouse was everywhere. Remember Sound Warehouse?
Oh yeah.
They had it was called the Sound Warehouse stage, and it was like a small stage that they would have set up in the concession area of Starplex whenever they had the national acts, and so they would have some band playing there, while people were basically just background music while people were standing in line to get beer or buy T-shirts and stuff, or go to the restroom. And so they asked us to do it, and but we weren't just background music. I mean, it started a massive pit, man. I mean, that whole courtyard area was like a huge circle pit.
Yep.
And we were supposed to have played like before Alice in Chains, and then before, I can't remember the order they went, but we were supposed to play in between all the bands. But we played before Alice in Chains, and then the second time was after Alice in Chains. We played, I think that was before Anthrax or something. And that time the pit was just too insane, and they made a stop after about 3 or 4 songs. They said that we were disturbing the members of Slayer and Anthrax as they were trying to get ready. And
whatever.
I remember I was with a buddy of mine from work, and we walked in, and I will never forget this as long as I live. We walked up, we must have been standing in front of you, because I remember your jet black hair, and you're just going ape shit, and you look down at us, and my buddy elbows me and goes, "My God, they've got the Night Stalker on guitar." Oh shit. I'll never forget that. And I took my camera, so I have pictures from that, but I didn't take any Gammacide pictures, I guess.
Oh no. You know, that's funny. I've been on a Richard Ramirez kick lately, watching a lot of Richard Ramirez videos and stuff.
Yeah. My God, they've got the Night Stalker on guitar.
Hopefully I had better teeth than him, though.
No shit. Oh man.
Oh, that's funny.
Sorry, I'm getting, my phone is blowing up with, everybody's digging it. This is a good episode. Mouse. Oh, there you go. Let's get a Gammacide sauce. I like it. it.
That would definitely be a great bill. We'll have to see. I don't know what's going to happen. So, like I said, we're going to just do this one show and see how it goes. Maybe there'll be other ones coming. Maybe there'll be others.
I mean, at this point, anything is possible. I mean, just the fact that Solitude played last year, I swore it would never happen. If you had said, bet the
I know. And John's been saying up and down, there's no way. He said that was it. That's the only show I want to do. And then they're going to do the Keep It True festival.
Right.
Here.
They're getting offers from overseas, and why not? Man,
that's what I told him. I said you need to cash in. You need to reap the rewards from all back in the day. Now, it's like you held on to a lottery ticket for 20 years, and you want to cash it in. So, I think you should. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
That
Exactly.
make you a hero to keep that lottery ticket in your drawer.
Right.
If there's that much interest and they're willing to pay you for your time, well, that's a first for once. And because how often did you play? Well, I know at the Tombstone you probably didn't get paid much, if anything at all. So all your heart, like everyone's saying, all your hard work and effort deserves to be rewarded. And if this is the reward, you had to wait 20, 30 years. Yeah.
Why not?
Here it is. Let's go, man.
Why not? So me and Scott have been, shaking the rust off, and it's going to be toxic Texas thrash. It's going to be exactly, it's going to be relentless.
I'm going to have to dig it out, but I used to have an underground newspaper called the Hepatitis News, and I did an article about Gammacide after watching you guys play, and I compared you to Gary Holt and Hunolt and Holt from the Exodus thing.
Yeah.
I said Shelby and Perry are that's the Texas version. They are prolific. They are chainsaws in full throttle, and it was amazing. I'm gonna have to dig that out for you and send it to you. But
I think we were probably on the same wavelength as those two guys too.
Sure.
In chemical wavelength, I'm sure.
That being said, I think everybody has an epiphany, and they eventually say, "Okay, how do we do this without the chemical enhancements?" But I don't know. Some people are able to do it longer than others, but
chemical enhancements are not necessary for to play fast. I mean that was way back in the day when we were learning. It helped us learn faster because you got more time to rehearse.
right.
Because like Scott Shelby would stay up for 3 days and learn every song off Pleasure to Kill. I mean, he figure the whole thing out. come out 3 days later and, he's made, 3 times as much progress.
Right.
So, yeah. But now
you've already got great songs to fall back on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I got a text from Michael from Corpus Christi, Texas, and he wants to know what the new Iron Jaw is going to sound like.
It sounds like the old Iron Jaw.
Yeah, I just replied.
I
just
think
replied. It's metal! Exclamation point.
Yeah, it's metal, straightforward metal. I think
killer vocals.
Yeah,
great
good
vocals.
Good songs. I mean, Iron Jaw is always focused on good songs. Making sure the song's got a good arrangement, and it's not just riffs strung together. And Todd is a great vocalist and knows how to orchestrate his vocal parts for maximum effect.
Mm-hmm. And hooks. He's got he knows how to write a hook. So you want to hear it again.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who was that? Someone in Corpus Christi?
Yeah, Michael.
Okay.
Michael Campbell.
Michael Campbell. All right. Well, he'll find out very soon.
Yep.
Anybody
any other questions?
Parting,
does anybody got any questions?
My phone's blowing up too.
Yeah, mine has been I just had to put it on silence. Well, Rick, thanks for taking some time out of your busy schedule. You do have a whole pile of metal happening, and metal is prevailing, and it's great. And I like the fact that you're not.
This is the metal right here.
What is that?
Peter Frampton.
Oh, yeah.
I like the fact that you're not sleeping on the opportunity. I think that's pretty awesome. And because fans like me, and I'm not the only one, I'm not unique to this, man, we've been jonesing to hear Gammacide again and new metal from the guys from Gammacide. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I can't wait till Varnum comes up and rehearses, and then it's really going to sound, then that's going to be. Then it's going to have the total Gamma flavor. But what we've done so far, we've got a great foundation going. And like I said, I wouldn't want to do it and have people like you, be thinking, oh wow, it's tired, or you should have seen it back in the old days or anything like that. I don't want,
No,
I'm going to start riding my bike and everything.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it now. I do have one parting question, and you don't have to necessarily answer, but on the 28th of September, Rotting Corpse is playing this benefit show, the Leslie Corbin.
And Varnum's band is going to be here.
Varnum's driving up to play the show too. Is there any snowball's chance in HE double Barbie legs that someone might coerce you to get on stage with Scott and maybe Varnum, and maybe just do Walking Plague or Sex Cult or anything like that, just for grins, just to kind of warm up the crowd a little bit?
I doubt it.
You're gonna save it for Houston, okay?
Well, I mean, but when he's in town, we might have a rehearsal. But we're not going to do it on stage. No.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. See, and you didn't, and you were, at least you're honest.
Right.
Please roll video on the rehearsal, if for no other reason.
Yeah, I feel like someone should document this. It should be like a movie or something.
Yeah, we need to see it later. Okay.
Let me know where you're going to be, and I'll bring at least a suitable recording device.
Well, whenever we play Hell's Heroes, we want to have some. We'll probably do some secret shows before that, but that will be very, it's going to be like maybe we'll do something at the Sunshine Bar on a Tuesday night, something like that.
Like my living room, you can come over here and play. I got soundproof walls.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe it'll be something like Diamond Gyms at noon on a Tuesday or something like that.
Didn't they do that at the Rockstar one time? They had some big major thing, but it was like at like 3:00 on a Sunday afternoon at the Rockstar Sports Bar. What was that? I can't remember. Anyway,
I'm not
to
sure.
your point, it'll be great to see the guys back together with a little new extra flavor in there. And
Yep.
I think the other players you have are certainly more than capable of handling those parts. And just the fact,
Yeah, Alan was the bass player in Gammacide the last time we played. So
right.
you know, he was the last bass player that we had when we played last time in 2006, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And then Joey, he's played some of the material before. When in War Beast we used to start off. We used to play like Walking Plague and Fossilize and stuff like that. So he has no problem handling it. It's gonna be great.
Yeah,
it is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So Puncture 30th anniversary of the first album comes out October 18th.
October,
Artifact Records.
right?
Check out
October
the
18th.
Bandcamp. There's new Iron Jaw coming out in January on No Life to Metal.
Yep.
And Gammacide at Hell's Heroes. You got a full plate, sir.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I never would have thought that this would have been such a busy year, but it's great.
Yeah,
And
it
that-
is.
It's better than gathering cobwebs,
And with
Yeah,
all that stuff, you're now a rich rock star, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, dude, for coming on. It's a privilege to work on your stuff with you. I really appreciate that.
Yep.
I
You did a
can't
great
wait
job.
for everything to come out. And yeah, I've got the new Iron Jaw tracks right there on my computer, and it's going to be good. So, you know how we do it when we sign off, boys. Until next time,
Metal
Metal
will prevail.